Guys, what is going on? We're back at it again with another Arbitrum ecosystem update. We're changing up the setup, trying to see what works over here, but nonetheless, as usual, nothing in this video is financial advice. And of course, as you know, everything that I say is my opinion and my opinion alone. So without further ado, let's get into it. First thing today, we have a tweet by Frame. GM creators, Frame is launching on January 31st. Creators and developers will be heavily incentivized in Chapter 2 of the Frame Airdrop. We'll be revealing more information before launch. If you're building on Frame and want extra help from us, fill out the form below. This, of course, if you guys aren't familiar, Frame is essentially a layer 2 blockchain built using Arbitrum Nitro technology. They're launching, as they said, on January 31st. They've already done their first airdrop technically, and that was a little while ago. So I think you can still claim. Today if you go to their website. But they already announced, Chapter 2, as you see, and they're really heavily incentivizing people who are creating on their platform. Really looking forward to this chain. Zai already launched on mainnet a little while ago now. I think actually last week, technically. And that has been a smashing success. So I'm sure Frame is also just going to probably be similar, if not kind of around the same hype. In terms of Zai was actually pretty insane. But I'm sure Frame will be also very, very fun too. So shout out to Saigar and the rest of the team there. Really looking forward to see how they, how the Frame chain launches. That sounds great. There's a good ring to it. Frame chain. On to the next thing. We have a tweet by David of Offchain Labs. David says, Arbitrum is leading the way on transaction speed with a nice chart by 0x Hess. Essentially, this is a block time. So it's a chart pretty much showing off different blockchains and how quick they process blocks, essentially. You have Ethereum all the way at the end with around a 12-second, I think, block time. Cosmos, Osmosis, and the rest kind of following right after that. With Arbitrum and Aptos actually having the quickest block time of all of these different blockchains listed here. Arbitrum's block time in this case, I think, is around a quarter of a second. So technically 25 milliseconds, I think, if that's correct, or 0.25 seconds. It's pretty quick, actually. And so for some people who might not know, actually, the way Arbitrum block time works is there isn't like a specified time that blocks are created on Arbitrum. The way it works is as soon as someone sends a transaction, a block is essentially created for that transaction. Now, if there is a point in time where there is a ton of transactions coming in at the same time, which nowadays happens quite often, you'll essentially have transactions batched together into blocks. And that's kind of where that 0.25 second block time comes into play. Essentially, like, you're not going to have more blocks created. Like, you can't have more than 4 blocks created in a second, essentially, right? Because of that block time. So if you do have more transactions coming in within that time frame, you just have transactions being batched together in blocks. So essentially, it's like more of like an on-demand basis versus like a solid transaction per second, at least in terms of block time. But that's why Arbitrum is so quick in this case, because it's very flexible in that case. And it also is funny because I don't think a lot of people really know or understand how blocks work on Arbitrum. I think most people assume it's similar to every other blockchain, but I think that's probably the coolest part of it. And yeah, shout outs to Hex in this case, or Hess, and as well as David, of course, for showing off this pretty cool chart that pretty much showcases how quick you can actually have your blocks be. Next tweet we have from John Patton, CEO of Treasure, or founder of Treasure. John says, starting a video series to explain the Treasure project in more detail. In a few weeks, I'll focus on the Treasure chain and why Magic will evolve from Arbitrum's #1 gaming ecosystem into the Web3 leader overall. Kicking it off by explaining Smallverse for newcomers. This is a great video to watch if you're interested in small brains, Magic, or anything like that, or anything related to Treasure, I should say. John does a great job breaking down like small world that's coming soon. One of one small brains, as well as a couple other different things. But I do think, by the way, this is something that more founders in crypto should start to kind of adopt. They're pretty much just constant communication in the form of video content, because that's the content that most people, I think most regular people like to watch and listen to, or consume, I should say. Just because, crypto is a very, very complex topic. It's a very, the whole space is relatively, filled with like so much information that I think, like, if you want to get really, really key things happening, really, really key topics that you feel is important to your community as a founder or as a project owner, it's kind of up to you to kind of deliver that in a way that's digestible for most people. And I think up until now, very few founders have been kind of going on a live, for example, and just talking to people. But I do think that act in and of itself, and including these maybe these video series that John says he's planning on doing, I think it's a great idea. The problem has always been information asymmetry, right? People that are inside the small community probably know all this stuff, but people that are outside of the small community that these guys are looking to onboard don't know this, right? And in this case, it's a 4-minute video. It's very digestible. Anyone can listen to it on Twitter, and as you can see, it blew up in engagement, right? Over 300 likes in a matter of literally less than a day. So shout out to John for starting this new, video series. And I definitely think, like I said, more founders should be doing more engagement tactics like this, just authentic speaking with your community directly and, for everyone to see, essentially. And lastly, we have a tweet by Steven Goldfeder, a CEO, co-founder at Offchain Labs. Arbitrum One has now processed over 500 million transactions, 500 million transactions. Literally, this was yesterday morning. It's pretty insane. The Arbitrum network has literally hit 500 million transactions. That's insane. I do think 2024, this is the bull market that everyone kind of assumes it will be, I wouldn't be surprised to see Arbitrum One hit a lot higher than this year. It honestly could even hit well past, a billion. And of course it depends. Obviously, like I said, if it's a bull market, if it's the market that we all think it's going to be, I could totally see it. I think right now, on average, Arbitrum One, the blockchain's hitting around close to 1 million transactions a day, which is insane. It's processing almost as many transactions as Ethereum, some days even higher. And to me, it's definitely just the beginning. So we'll see what happens. Very excited for the future. And again, as usual, you guys already know, if you are interested in Web3 related entrepreneurial based podcasts, your boy is actually hosting one currently with Offchain Labs. Actually, more recently, I had Eli, the co-founder and CEO, or I guess co-founder and president of Starkware on. Literally last week, we published the video, and it's actually doing pretty well on X. So feel free to watch it on X, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you want. But yeah, as usual, guys, safe degenning out there, and catch you in the next one. All right, peace out.